Hello, Pewter people. Scott Reynolds here with another Pewter Pulse. The world lost a great man and a great defensive mind on Thursday, July 11th. And the Bucs lost a legend and Ring of Honor member and former defensive coordinator Monte Kiffin. The architect of the Tampa 2 had been in declining health for the last couple of years and passed away at age 84. Kiffin had just been recognized with the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Award of Excellence 2 weeks ago for his contributions to the game as an assistant coach. I started my career covering the Bucs in 1995, and Tampa Bay hired Tony Dungy and Monte Kiffin the next year in 1996. So I covered every minute of Kiffin's illustrious career in Tampa Bay, and what a wild ride it was. So let's spend the next few minutes remembering the greatness of Monte Kiffin. What makes a great coach is the number of great players he develops. Kiffin coached 8 Pro Bowlers and 4 of Tampa Bay's 5 Hall of Famers. Those 4 Hall of Famers, who also went to a slew of Pro Bowls themselves, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, and Rondé Barber. And then those Pro Bowlers, Hardy Nickerson, Simeon Rice, Shelton Quarles, and Donnie Abraham. Sapp won the NFL Defensive Player of the Year award in 2000, and Brooks won that distinction in 2002. The Bucs set a franchise record with 31 interceptions in the 2002 season and recorded the most sacks ever in a season in 2000 with 55. Those records still stand today. Kiffin's defense is considered one of the best of all time from that 2002 season. Tampa Bay was first in the league in total defense that year, first in passing defense, and first in points allowed, allowing just 10 passing TDs all season, in addition to 8 rushing scores, and an average of just 12.3 points per game. That's impressive. And when you look at the coaches that Monte Kiffin has spawned from the Kiffin coaching tree, it includes these notable coaches: Herm Edwards, Lovie Smith, Mike Tomlin, Rod Marinelli, Raheem Morris, Gus Bradley. All 6 of them became head coaches, some with more success than others. Mike Tomlin still coaching today. Raheem Morris getting his second shot as a head coach, in fact. And then a couple of notable assistants who are now coordinators or position coaches. Joe Barry, who was the Bucs linebackers coach, is now coaching linebackers for the Miami Dolphins. Former Bucs assistant Joe Woods is now the Saints defensive coordinator. Jimmy Lake, who was a defensive backs assistant under Raheem Morris, is now the Falcons defensive coordinator. And Todd Wash, who was a defensive line coach that replaced Rod Marinelli in Tampa under the John Gruden years, well, he's now the defensive line coach with the Carolina Panthers. So that's 6 head coaches that coached under Kiffin. And keep in mind that Monte Kiffin coached under the 2 winningest head coaches in Tampa Bay: John Gruden from 2002 to 2008, and Tony Dungy before that from 1996 to 2001. We talked about that Super Bowl 37, that Kiffin helped the Bucs win. It's one of the greatest defensive performances of all time, not just by the Buccaneers, but in any Super Bowl. Tampa Bay's defense sacked NFL MVP Rich Gannon with the Oakland Raiders 5 times and picked him off 5 times, including 3 pick sixes, one of which was courtesy of Derek Brooks, who was the league's defensive player of the year that season in 2002. Speaking of 2, Kiffin's cover 2 defense was branded the Tampa 2 by Kiffin himself. In fact, he implored me and Buccaneer Magazine to write about the term Tampa 2 rather than use the term cover 2, because he wanted the Bucs defense to stand apart from the other teams in the league that ran the cover 2 in the 1990s and early 2000s. Hence, the Tampa 2 was born, in part because of our writing in Buccaneer Magazine at Kiffin's urging. Monte Kiffin created a star in Rondé Barber and made the nickel cornerback a true weapon on the field with the ability to cover or blitz off the edge on any play. He made Derek Brooks into the best coverage linebacker and off-ball tackler in the NFL at the time. And Kiffin utilized one of the hardest-hitting safeties in John Lynch to patrol the middle of the field and be the enforcer in his Tampa 2 defense. He also helped make Warren Sapp one of the most dangerous defensive tackles in the league, in part because he listened to his players and took their on field feedback to make in game adjustments. Sapp was always famous for that. Smart coaches put their players in the best positions to succeed. Even smarter coaches do that and then listen to their players and give them ownership in the defense. Kiffin wasn't just smart, he was a genius. Monte Kiffin coached with unbridled passion and enthusiasm. I adopted Kiffin's energetic coaching style when I coached my son's Pop Warner's team for 6 years, the South Pasco Predators. And I was a defensive coordinator and a defensive line coach, in part because of Monte Kiffin. He made me even more interested in defense than I ever was before. And ultimately, he made me want to coach defense. It was an honor and privilege to cover his 13 years in Tampa Bay. Kiffin was the fire starter for the Buccaneers on the practice field, in the meeting rooms, and on the sidelines on game days. He brought the juice to Tampa Bay's defense. That's why players like Warren Sapp loved him, and that's why he and John Gruden got along so well. And there was an immense level of trust between the two men because they were kindred spirits. I'm proud to say that Pewter Report led the charge in the media to get Kiffin inducted into the Bucs Ring of Honor in 2019. Kiffin coached in Tampa Bay for 13 years. That's longer than any other coach in franchise history. And you know what? No other Bucs coach has won more games than Monte Kiffin either. John Gruden won 57 games as a head coach. Tony Dungy won 54. But Monte Kiffin won 111 games in Tampa Bay, and that's a record that no Bucs coach may ever break. Kiffin helped the Bucs win 4 division championships and the franchise's first ever Super Bowl, and it was only fitting that Kiffin's defense stole the show that night in the Bucs' biggest game to date at the time, the end of the 2002 season in San Diego. Rest in peace, Monte Kiffin. You've had as much impact on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as anyone else. And we would love for you to impact our YouTube TV channel. That's Pewter Report TV. It's where you can find our Pewter Pulse videos, Pewter Report podcasts, and other great Bucs video content. So please subscribe and also leave a comment. When you do that and when you hit the like button, those two things help our algorithm with YouTube and get us in front of more Pewter people like you. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram during Bucs training camp, which is rapidly approaching, and follow all of the Bucs content on pewterreport.com. And I'll be back soon with the new Pewter Pulse.